Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Papa Pixelit playing the Tier 6 Royal Navy Light Cruiser Leander. This is a clan brawl. He's got on the team Segaby Flamjing and the Prince Idol Friedrich, Reacher and Ismail, Stacy Dustin 55 and Trento, Bly is in the Perth, Alf is in the Hatsuharu, and Squid Pent is also in the Hatsuharu. They're playing against the 36 clan with Dr. Tom Burns as a merc. Alright, I'm going to take a second here and address a bug that was introduced with the 10.5 update where these will not stay set. This and the most recent version of Torpedo Bug were introduced and have not been corrected yet. Okay, I did prepare a video of this game already from Segaby's perspective in the Prince Idol Friedrich, and provided some information about the Prince Idol Friedrich, but I think that may not make it to the to the YouTube page, primarily because well, Reacher and our hero here, Papa Pixelit, had very strong games, and there just wasn't much opportunity for Segaby to really put Prince Idol Friedrich to good use. But it is a good game, at least in my opinion, and it's the kind of clan brawl that I think most people enjoy. Maybe the 36 clan a little bit less in this case, but still it was a bit of a slugfest, kind of a fun game. So you can see Squid is just kind of pointing out, I'm thinking where his okay, so we got a couple people that are saying, okay, I've got radio locations telling me kind of in that direction from where I'm at. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Leander, which is unlikely if you've played the game any length of time, but if you're a relatively new player, I'll give you a little bit of information about the Royal Navy light cruisers. Are very squishy. They do not have much in the way of armor at all. In fact, it's usually just enough to arm AP, and that's about it. Leander has a pretty good sized citadel, and because the armor is paper thin, it can be citadeled from pretty much any angle. And so you have to be very cautious with this thing. Now, not so much against destroyers, although even destroyers, if they're at fairly close range and they get your broadside, they can citadel you as well. So, as you can see here, he's got 31,400 HP. That's, it's respectable, I guess, but a couple of citadels and, well, that evaporates very quickly. Now, it looks to me like Papa is running the commander skill. That'll give you another, 350 HP per tier of the ship. The base HP on the ship is 28,700. The guns are 152s. There are 8 of them. Two guns in 4 turrets, and they have an 8-second base reload. Turrets traverse in 25.7 seconds. Firing range is a paltry 13.17 kilometers. So they're calling it 13.2, which you can see on the minimap. On some maps that can be enough, on others woefully inadequate. Now this ship only fires AP. Now it's the kind of quick arming Royal Navy AP, so you can beat up destroyers with this thing, and the AP shell damage to the max is 3,100. Generally you're going to do less than that, but that is the max. It does have secondaries, but they are really, they're next to nothing. It's got 8 torpedoes, which is a real threat. The torpedoes, they hit fairly hard, 15,433 damage. They run at 61 knots base speed, and they've got an 8-kilometer range. So if you're up-tiered heavily, it's difficult sometimes to put them to use, but they still can be very effective. You see, the Hydro lasts a really long time. Max speed, 32.5 knots, and that Fubuki, he's in big trouble. You can watch it. As long as these shells hit, you'll watch the damage counter climbing. And that's really kind of representative of the damage that Leander will very often do. 310 damage. Now, those torpedoes may have been aimed at Reader and Segeby. They'll both have enough time to be able to get out of the way. That Hydro is really, really useful for that. Detection, base detection on this ship is 10.26 kilometers, and from the air, 6.44. Fubuki's in big trouble. We know he just dropped his torpedoes. It's going to be a while till they reload. Now we got 2 sets at the other side. That Hydro is just going to make it impossible for... Yeah, so that's it. That's all the Fubuki torps. So 2 sets already, and now that one. That's it. Now Alf looks like he's turning to go spot the Fubuki. He's going to secure the cap and then head out that way would be my guess. Don't want to leave a Fubuki on the flank. Okay, so the World of Warships wiki. Okay, here's the list of pros or positive things about the Leander according to the WoW's wiki. Lowest detection radius of all non-premium Tier 6 cruisers. Yeah, that's true, and with the smoke that can be pretty effective. Third fastest gun reload of all the Tier 6 cruisers at 7.7 seconds. Powerful torpedoes with decent range, speed, and damage. Very deadly against destroyers and cruisers who end up at close range due to the high gun accuracy, and they are pretty accurate. Hydro's down, but between Stacy and Alf, spotted, and then Alf finishes off Fubuki with guns. Nicely done. Has access to the smoke generator, has access to the repair party, better secondary battery than other same tier cruisers, which is kind of like saying 0 + 0 = 0. Decent rudder shift time to dodge shells, especially with the thin armor. Okay, so cons. Short main battery range, the shortest of all Tier 6 cruisers. Extremely thin armor everywhere. Cannot tank damage with armor from any angle, which I think I already said. Lack of high explosive shells makes damaging enemy capital ships very challenging. That is very true. Against a heavily armored opponent, these shells can be, well, disappointing, it's fair to say. Anti-aircraft suite, blah, 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 blah. Why even bother? AA just doesn't do anything. There's a handful of ships with relatively effective AA, but even that is debatable. This is not one of those. Damage from any armor-piercing salvo is consistent, but not spectacular, and it has very low alpha strike damage potential. Now, if you catch something broadside because of the quick reload, you can pump out a lot of citadels in this ship, which can be a lot of fun, but that does not happen often. And the ship heavily relies on the smoke generator. So that's the cons.
Smoke generator activated.
We'll see what kind of damage. Okay, there's a nice salvo. Now you'll notice that Papa is aiming high enough to avoid hitting the torpedo belt. Pensacola is showing broadside. This would be a good example of what it can do here. Yeah, pretty decent damage, and Pensacola may eat a torpedo. Nope, he narrowly turns and avoids that. Pensacola, showing no respect, is going to show broadside again. And that is that's representative of what the Leander can do. If a cruiser shows broadside, especially at that kind of close range, expect that cruiser to be punished. Against angled, heavily armored opponents, Leander's best chance for damage is to hit the superstructure. And you can see that's exactly what Papa did there. Meanwhile, the team did lose Squid in his Hatsuharu. Reader is badly banged up, making use of the smoke from Papa here. And down goes Bly in the Perth. Now the good guys, well, they're behind on points, but they do have a ship lead. So now it's a question of, can they finish up the Mutsu? Stacy Dustin is chasing down the Gaida up north, but he's in a situation where if he continues to push due north, he's going to be showing a flat broadside to the Nuremberg, which has devastatingly powerful AP against especially light cruisers. So you can see he's angling to prevent getting blapped. And this Mutsu is not long for this world. Aiming for the upper belt and finishes off the Mutsu. Nice job, Papa. So at this point, Rieger has in Ismail finished off 2 of the red ships. Papa just finished off the Mutsu. And we know that Alf finished off the enemy Fubuki. Now, Stacy fell back. I think that was a good idea. Starbuck there in the Nuremberg is a real threat. Stacy kind of showing some broadside there. If that Nuremberg player is a good shot, really might make him pay. And you can see you can look at the HP bar on the Trento up there in the upper left, and he did get caught. He showed a little too much side there coming around an island, and that Nuremberg made him pay for it. Okay, so right now Papa is pushing forward, and he will have Hydro to combat the torpedo threat from the Gaida and actually from the Nuremberg, although you have to be pretty close for that to be true. The Nuremberg only has 6-kilometer range. All right, so detected by the Gaida, and I think probably well within the range of Andriadoia, and now visible and in range of the Nuremberg. Might be good to angle here and or even smoke, but he's the only thing spotting these guys, so just kind of maybe hoping to avoid eating the big shot. Now Stacy Dustin ants a volley. So close. That Nuremberg's got to be sunk here. And Nuremberg may have thrown torpedoes out ahead of this island. Nice shot, Papa. So Papa finishes off the Nuremberg, pops his Hydro, and is almost certainly going to rush down the Gaida. Now, if the Gaida player is experienced, he is probably well aware that that's what's going to happen. And that throwing his torpedoes out here was unlikely to be successful, I guess. Be a good way to put that. Segapi in the Prince Idle Friedrich wisely ran for the Alpha Cat, secured that, and this game's going to be over here very shortly. Great game, ICOP. Well played. Way to be patient and look for the good shots. Those of you joining me, thank you, and I'll see you next time.